Hi, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Thoughts of a Rambling Mind. This episode is going to be about, man, I'm just going to say it, man. I'm missing number 45, man. I'm going to lie to you. Somebody got to speak on it. Elephant in the room. You know, things was much better just a year ago, right? Everybody was saving money. Everybody was spending money. Everybody was investing. People were looking at buying houses. Now, the market is in fluctuation. The housing market is horrible. People are trying to save money. Inflation is on the rise. Prices are going up. We literally, United States of America, literally just lost a war. We literally just lost the Afghanistan war. After 20 years of fighting this war, this motherfucker's in less than a year, and we lost. Full retreat. We lost an entire country that it took us 20 years to gain. We lost in less than a month. We're now negotiating with the Taliban in order to give them full power of Afghanistan. That is what our government is now engaging in doing. Our president. They give you excuses about people not fighting their own fights and all of this other stupidness. This was never about the people fighting their own fight. This was never about freeing or liberating anybody. This was about making sure that we had control of the most volatile situation in the Middle East so that United States could have intelligence and boots on the ground where it was most pertinent and keep us Americans at home safe. That's what we've been doing in Afghanistan for the last 20 years. It's like the plan that was set in motion before Donald Trump became president was to destroy America. And every single intelligent mathematician and economist said that America would be surpassed by China. America was on a decline. And Donald Trump came in with an America First platform and turned all of those perspectives around. All of those perspective calculations had to be reevaluated because America became the shining star yet again in the world. When I say the shining star, I mean we were fuel independent, energy independent. We did not have to buy energy. We were selling energy. We're selling oil to the world. First time in history. Our stock market was the envy of the world. Inflation was low. Interest rates were low. Houses were cheap. The judgment of a president is not what he says, but how his actions affect the masses. A good president is a president that has done much to improve the lives of his people. I watched under the presidency of Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, I watched him being judged for how he treated non-Americans. Now, whether it is right or whether it is wrong is not my discussion. My discussion is we had a president who treated Americans with priority over any that were non-Americans, period. And I think that consistency is a consistency that I'm happy to deal with, and I think it's appropriate for the position. We now have a president whose actions are detrimental to the United States and its people in every single way. Before he came into office, and since he's been in the office, his mission has been to undo the doings of the greatest economy, the greatest security, the greatest military government that we've had almost in the history of this country. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. What that means is that no matter what you feel about the 45th president of America, no matter what your political leanings are, if you're honest, you must admit that he had some form of positive effects on our government. Now, Joe Biden may one day show that his positive effect on the government was the way people speak and relate to each other. Might do it in a more polite and political fashion. But other than that, I'm not seeing another positive impact of his presidency thus far. Somebody needs to grade his first year in office. I haven't seen those grades. When Donald Trump was president, I knew what kind of soda he drank. I knew what type of meals he fed to his visitors and his guests at the White House. I knew what his conversations were with world leaders on the telephone. I knew what his conversations were with our leaders in private. I knew everything about the President of the United States. And the reason I knew all of these things was because the media ensured that the public knew all of these things about the president. Now, as I was viewing this, I saw it as they were picking on and harassing the President of the United States, and I thought it was a disgusting display. But in hindsight, and now that we have a new president in office who I do not agree with, I understand now that the media has a role. And although I might have saw it as picking on the president of my choice, now that I have someone that I don't agree with and that I don't trust, the lack of that type of investigation, the lack of that type of attention to detail is disturbing to me. And I think that I don't recommend and I don't desire for the media to harass anyone, but I do require a higher level of scrutiny upon the highest office of the land. I don't need to know if he drinks diet sodas. I don't need to know if he takes 2 scoops of ice cream versus 1 scoop. I don't need to know that. But I'd like to know some of his conversations with world leaders, because I'd like to know why it seems like every move that the current president makes is detrimental to the people of the United States. So I'd like to hear some of those conversations. I'd like to know some of the behind the room dealings and some of the leaders that he's been meeting with. I haven't seen any big attention pointing at meetings that he's having with world leaders. I haven't heard him having discussions with Kim Jong-un or Vladimir Putin or the Japanese leader, sorry, I don't know his name, or anybody. I haven't, the leader of Mexico, like I haven't heard of any of these meetings. What was the objective of the meetings, and if the objective was carried out? I have no idea what the President of the United States, and I have even less idea of what the Vice President of the United States is doing and has been doing since they've gotten into office. And I don't think many of you have any idea either. We just, for a fact, know that we have now lost another war, We've lost a country which was pivotal to our understanding of the Middle East. The neighbors of those countries, like Pakistan, will no longer assist us because we have left and abandoned the people of Afghanistan after causing them to be involved in a war that they neither desired nor asked for. Pakistan has been drawn into a war where they've lost over 70,000 people on behalf of the United States for something that they don't support or believe in, and now they will no longer allow themselves to be proxy and associated with any type of military action in the Middle East, especially on the behalf of the United States. They will not be, because when the suicide bombings and attacks begin, they always get attacked there. We don't get the attacks. They get them in their countries. Their economy gets destroyed. Their businesses can no longer function, so they will no longer assist us in any activity in the Middle East. We are almost completely blind because of this one action. I don't think you people understand. Yes, I think I'm a little upset. I'm not upset at Joe Biden. I'm not upset at the Democrats. I'm upset at you, my people, for not seeing that we are being strategically fooled. When they start using rappers to promote anything to you, you know what they think about rappers, and you know why they think it about rappers. You know who rappers are, you know what they represent, and you know what their interests are. So when our government begins using the worst possible influences in our society that are the most influential people in our society, that are only self-centered and self-serving, then that tells you what their message is. Poison. So I'm mad at you for drinking poison with your Kool-Aid. I'm mad at you for sprinkling poison over your fried chicken and biscuits. And I'm mad at you for drizzling poison all over your watermelon. Yes, I'm mad at you for seasoning your chitlins with poison. Because everything that I just described is what they think that you are. And that's what you prove that you are by giving your vote back to the people who enslaved you, back to the people who segregated you, back to the people who have persecuted and held you down for generation upon generation, giving your families welfare and killed their drive and desire to hunger for more, their ambition. Put you in projects and analyze what would happen if a community was left and abandoned. Created experiments to find out what would happen if a disease was left untreated in your population, even with medicine readily available for the cure. A people that made you bring your wives to their doorsteps and leave them, only to return in the morning for your wife defiled. A people that separated your people and made it a crime for you to read. A people that that shipped you from one continent to another, to a land that you've never seen before. We had a shot, and hopefully we are destined to have another, but we don't know. Donald Trump is not the savior of the black man. Donald Trump is not the savior of America. Donald Trump may not even be a good person. I don't know. But what I will tell you is Donald Trump is not one of them. You define who one of them is. You define who they are is to you. But for a fact, Donald Trump is not one of them. As we speak, the Taliban is allowed to get on Twitter and spew all of the information of their conquest of the Afghani people. Afghan women will no longer be able to even listen to the radio, much less get driver's licenses and go to school. Little Afghani girls will now be married off at 7, 8, 9 years old and be expected to birth children at 10 and 11 years old. As soon as their first menstrual cycle ends, they will be impregnated. You guys do not understand what has been unleashed in that part of the world. But I hope you know that had Donald Trump been the president, this would not be the outcome. There would be no feeling that the United States has lost a war, that the Taliban has taken over. There was no strategy on how to leave and how to secure all of the innocent people who, in the hopes of a better lives for them and their family, worked and risked their lives against the Taliban to support the American soldiers, and now have been abandoned with their identities exposed. No, Donald Trump is not a savior. But we wouldn't have lost this war. No, Donald Trump is not a savior. But our economy wouldn't be a shambles. And if our economy was hurting, he would be out there loud on stage with a microphone and a bullhorn screaming at the people who hold the levers of the economy in order to make sure that it was better for me and you. If he was giving money out, it would be specifically to the industries that needed the money in order to make the economy stand, as he did with the farming industry when the tariffs were attacking their industry, when the Chinese were attacking their industry. He wouldn't just be giving out blatant money, rampant money, free and clear to the people, to the point where the government cannot support it and the prices of everything have to rise. There would be a push for people to get back to work. Our country is stagnating with new laws coming down the pipe that's going to kill it. Mandatory, everybody has to have vaccines in order to do indoor anything. That is an economy killer because there is a very large percentage of the population who were once people who participated and whose money participated in our economy. These people will no longer participate because they're perfectly fine not participating if it means that they'll be obligated to take a vaccine that they do not trust. Limiting your customer base and killing business. There is a strategic effort in our government to destroy economies around this country. And if you look, you'll see that this effort is happening around the world. There is something going on, and we lost the ability to fight it. And we had one chance. And hopefully we'll be lucky enough that number 45 decides that he wants to become number 47 and run again. These are my views. Like, share, dislike, subscribe. It's a sad day to me. I don't know how many of you see it. I don't know how many of you notice that you feeling it in your pocket. But if you take a look, you'll see things was all good just a year ago. Anyway, I'm out.